Hello everyone, this is Vincenzo and welcome to a new video. In this video I want to show you a game I've recently played against a sub, and I lost this game. I lost it on time, so we are going to analyze it and see where I could have played better. So my sub is rated almost 1400. He's from Canada, and actually today I've finally crossed the 1700 mark, so that's a huge goal for me. Now I'll try to improve and get to 1800, but I'm sure it will take me quite some time. Okay, so the first interesting thing is that we got the exact same accuracy, which is rare because this game was 42 moves long, so not usual. And here you can see that my opponent actually played more best moves, 20 to 16, but I guess two great moves are like best moves, so almost there. The accuracy was the same. So let's start with the analysis. Okay, my opponent played e4 and I responded with the French defense, which is my usual opening against e4. In fact, I always play the French, except in some unrated games where I play the Scandinavian sometime, but I usually play the French. So d4, d5, and now we have an exchange variation of the French. So this is a completely symmetrical pawn structure, and this is why some says that the exchange French is drawish, but that's not always the case, because I mean at top level where they know like 25 moves of theory, it can be a draw, but at our level, intermediate level, it is not always the case. Okay, the bishop comes out, and this is a very strong bishop for white in the French defense, because it attacks h7, and yeah, can lead to Greek gift or some sort of sacrifice. It can be very dangerous for black. So we go bishop d6, we copycat white because we also want to have a strong bishop pointing on h2. Okay, the knight comes out, and here I always play this move. Instead of placing the knight here, which runs into this move, I prefer to go here. Well, and this move is also possible, of course, but I like this knight here because then I want to go bishop f5 to exchange white's strong light square bishop for my bishop, which is not very good in the French. Even in the exchange French, the French bishop is not as good as the dark square bishop. Okay. Yeah, okay. White castled. I castled. Here the best move is h6, just to prevent this move, which is very annoying. Sometimes if you play h6, you will see a very early sacrifice, but you can see that it is not a good move. Let's say okay, white plays c4, and now we play h6, and let's say that white sacrifice. Oh wait, yeah, okay, in this position the sacrifice is winning, as you can see, because the king is already castled and this bishop is pointing down here and the knight is ready to jump. So yeah, okay, in this position the sacrifice might be good. Let's see. Oh, okay, no, it was not the sacrifice, but it was a blunder because we lose the bishop. We don't have any square to move to, as you can see, and we lose a piece, while the sacrifice is not very good because we take, and yeah, the knight cannot jump. It takes some moves for the queen to get into the action, and we can solidify MB, just up a piece. Okay, so I showed you why you always have to consider sacrificing this bishop for this pawn, but you also have to calculate, because sometimes the attack doesn't go your way and you lose. Okay, I took because I wanted to develop my bishop without being taken by white. So I took and deflecting the white's bishop, and I developed. Okay, white developed the knight, and I did the same, but to d7. You can see this knight may look passive, but they have a future. They can jump here or even into the center later on. Okay, white develops. I push the c pawn because I wanted to play this move, b5, to push away the bishop, and white saw my idea, I guess, and went a4 to prevent b5. So instead I lift my queen, complete my development by connecting the rooks, and white plays a very good move, h3, prophylactic move. Now I took some space here, didn't really know what to do in this position, so it says that black has a very slight edge here, and as you can see the engine really wants me to play h6, which I should have. Even in this position where it can be taken, and after we take, the queen can take, and it looks very scary with the knight coming in, but apparently black is fine. Now I move the knight attacking the bishop, and white retreat, offering a trade of bishop, but I wasn't interested, and I played this move, which is an inaccuracy, because I want to have a knight here, right? But this knight is defending the bishop, so white took the knight attacking the queen, and now if I take with the knight, I lose the bishop, so I have to take with the pawn, and now white can place a rook on the open file, taking control of it and attacking my queen. So I moved the queen out of the way, and white took, I took back. It is always equal, but here I didn't want to trade bishops because otherwise it is probably a draw, and I attacked the queen, placing my bishop in a very nice square, because it is also controlling the e1 square. So white moves the queen. Now I take control of the e-file, but the engine doesn't like it, and yeah, I saw this move, which is very annoying, and it is rook c7, attacking the queen, being defended by the bishop, and after the queen moves, let's say to d1, I lose this pawn. Simply I lose a pawn. So I saw that move, but only after I played rook to e1. Also, you can see here that my time is a lot lower after this move, because I actually had to open the door and it took me some time, but that didn't really change the outcome of the game, in my opinion. My opponent played really well, and you'll see what happens. So now white wants to trade bishops, which is fine for me, and I was relieved by that move, because this is no longer a threat now. I traded bishops, and then I went here to attack the pawn. At the moment the pawn is defended twice and attacked twice, so I wanted to add an attacker and win a pawn. Okay, and I went here, but this is a bad move again, because I lose a pawn. Again, as you can see, now white can take, and they did, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, they traded rooks, and I took with the rook, and now I lose a pawn. And I thought at first that I win the pawn back, but this is actually a blunder, because as you can see here, it loses a piece, because after white takes and I take, I blunder back rank mate. I cannot defend with the queen. Well, I can block, but I will lose the queen and the game. So I took with the rook to attack the pawn twice, because I saw that white will take this pawn, but I missed the mate, which is not a threat right now, because the rook can come back and it is defended by the queen. But if I take the pawn, I will get mated. So I made some space for my king in order to take the pawn, and my opponent allowed me to take the pawn, so instead of defending it. So a slight inaccuracy, a mistake here by my opponent, so I obviously took. But this game is still difficult, because you can see two connected pawns here, and I only have one pawn. This rook is kinda misplaced, so I have to be very careful. So I take control of the open file, because I had some ideas. Well, right now I cannot play this move, but I wanted to go here, then here, and make some threat, and my king is safe on h7. But here my opponent took control of the open file, so this idea is no longer possible, because and the rook is defended. So here I spotted this move, which I thought was very nice, and took the pawn, hanging my queen, but I take their queen. And after white takes, luckily here I did not calculate very much, because as you can see my time is very low, and it was still equal, because I also have a passed pawn. So it is only 4 squares away from promotion, and yes, this pawn is 3 squares away, but the rook is in the way and it is black to move. So I gave a check and then lift my pawn. White gave a check, advanced the pawn. I did the same, and here I did the same. And it is a draw, as you can see. Here, if you see this part of the board, it is completely symmetrical, and also here a very similar position with the rook on the first and the last rank, and our pawns 1 square away from promotion. So I went here because I don't want white to promote. White took, I took. As you can see here, my time is very low, and I don't know why I spent so much here, 5 seconds to play this move. That is very obvious. So we take, but that's not enough. Also, maybe I was lagging a little because I spent 1 second on this move, which I remember having played instantly. And here I just push on some pawns. Let's see if I can draw, but of course I cannot because my time is very low and my opponent has 16 seconds. So I lost this game to my opponent, and honestly I don't think that losing a couple of minutes by opening the door changed by much the outcome of the game, because my opponent played really well. As you can see, 91% over 42 moves, which was my accuracy too, but he's rated almost 1400, so a very good accuracy, to be honest. And I told them that they can improve a lot, in my opinion, because yeah, they played very good. So very nice game, in my opinion. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but it is always nice to play a good game of chess. So I hope you enjoyed this game. Thanks for watching, and I think I will record now the game that took me to 1700. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more subs game, and if you do, remember that you can also challenge me when I am online, so feel free to do it, and see you in the next video.